Hello everyone. In this session, our goal is to master the techniques for solving equations that contain rational terms, essentially, equations with fractions where the unknown is often in the denominator. By the end of this video, you will be able to, first, clear denominators using the least common multiple or cross multiplication, and second, solve the resulting linear or quadratic equations to find the value of x. These are classic IGCSE extended tier questions. So let's jump straight into our first example. To begin, let's look at a linear example. This type of question often appears in the early parts of an IGCSE paper. Our objective here is to solve for x in the equation 3 divided by the quantity x plus 1 plus 2/3 equals 1. The first step in any rational equation is to clear the fractions. We want to find a common denominator for all terms. The common denominator here is 3 times the quantity x plus 1. We will multiply every single term in the equation by this expression to eliminate the denominators. When we multiply the first term by our common denominator, the x plus 1 terms cancel out, leaving us with 3 times 3, which is 9. For the second term, the 3's cancel out, leaving us with 2 times the quantity x plus 1. And on the right side, 1 times our common denominator is simply 3 times the quantity x plus 1. Now we have a much friendlier linear equation. Let's expand the brackets. On the left, 2 times x is 2 times, and 2 times 1 is 2. On the right, 3 times x is 3 times, and 3 times 1 is 3. Combining 9 and 2 gives us 11 plus 2 times equals 3 times plus 3. Subtract 2 times from both sides to gather our x terms. We get 11 equals x plus 3. Finally, subtract 3 from both sides. We find that x equals 8. We have successfully met our first objective by clearing the denominators, and our second by solving the linear result. Now, let's look at a more challenging IGCSE extended style problem. In this case, clearing the denominators will lead us to a quadratic equation. Our objective is to solve this equation for x. Notice that we have two different algebraic denominators, x minus 2 and x plus 1. To clear these, we multiply the entire equation by the product of the denominators, the quantity x minus 2 times the quantity x plus 1. Think of this as multiplying every term by both x minus 2 and x plus 1. When we multiply the first fraction, the x2 cancels, leaving 4 times the quantity x plus 1. For the second fraction, the x plus 1 cancels, leaving minus 3 times the quantity x minus 2. On the right side, we must multiply the 1 by both factors. Let's expand everything carefully. Watch the signs. Minus 3 times minus 2 becomes plus 6. On the right, we use the FOIL method or grid method to expand the brackets. On the left, 4 times minus 3 times is x, and 4 plus 6 is 10. On the right, x minus 2 times simplifies to minus x. Because we see an x squared term, we know this is a quadratic. To solve it, we must set the equation to 0. We subtract x from both sides, and subtract 10 from both sides. This gives us our quadratic in standard form. This particular quadratic doesn't factorize easily with integers, so we use the quadratic formula where a is 1, b is minus 2, and c is minus 12. Substituting the values in, we get 2 plus or minus the square root of 4 minus 4 times 1 times negative 12 all over 2. This simplifies to 2 plus or minus the square root of 52 all divided by 2. Calculating these, we get our two solutions. X is approximately 4.61 or negative 2.61, usually rounded to 3 significant figures for IGCSE. We have achieved our goals. We cleared complex denominators and solved the resulting quadratic equation. To consolidate what we have learned, let's look at one final example that uses cross-multiplication. This is a shortcut often used when you have exactly one fraction on each side of the equal sign. Our objective is to solve for x when the equation is presented as two equivalent ratios. In this specific structure, clearing denominators is equivalent to multiplying the numerator of one side by the denominator of the other. By cross-multiplying, we bring the x plus 5 up to the left and the 2 times minus 3 up to the right. This immediately removes the rational terms. Expanding the brackets, we get 5 times plus 25 on the left and 8 times minus 12 on the right. Subtract 5 times from both sides to keep the x coefficient positive. Now we have 25 equals 3 times minus 12. Add 12 to both sides, giving us 37 equals 3 times. Finally, divide by 3. Our answer is 37 over 3, or 12 1/3. To recap our session, We have learned to identify the necessary expressions to clear denominators, transformed rational equations into linear and quadratic forms, and solved them using standard algebraic techniques. A common pitfall to remember: always multiply the whole number terms by the common denominator too, not just the fractions. You are now ready to tackle these rational equations in your IGCSE extended exams. Good luck with your revision.